There's a bunch of new people at my channel. Hi, welcome. Sorry you don't really know what you're getting yourself into yet. Welcome to the shit show. Hey everybody, my name is Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my TBR for Tome Infinity and Beyond Round 3, which, in case you don't know, is a readathon that I am co-hosting starting, by the time this video goes up, tomorrow. So that's cool. I'm good at staying on top of things. Anyway, since this readathon starts in like 36 hours from the time of filming, I don't have a ton of time to edit this TBR video. So today we're going to be not only filming my TBR, but we are going to be doing it as a one-take challenge, which was created, sort of, I guess created, that's the right word for it, read by Jess, which I will link her channel in the description. But essentially this was born out of her not really having time to edit, and so it seems perfect that that's what we're going to do. So essentially, other than the very beginning, putting in my intro, putting in my end cards, and then maybe editing in some pictures because I don't have physical copies of most of these books, I'm not going to be editing this video. There's probably going to be pauses. There's probably going to be some weird ums and uhs. It's fine. I never pretended to be good at speaking. So, you know, whatever. It's cool. Please excuse if I pause to drink, because I can't edit it out. Anyway, I am planning on trying to read 8 books for Tome Infinity and Beyond Round 3, which is ambitious. The first round of Tome Infinity and Beyond, which was also a 2-week readathon, I barely managed to read 4, so we'll see if I can actually do this. But if you're not familiar with Tome Infinity and Beyond Round 3, it is a science fiction readathon, and the point of this round is to read sci-fi books from around the world, which is pretty fucking dope. And so if you can manage to read a book from every continent, Antarctica is optional, but I'm an overachiever, you get 1,000 bonus points for your team. And since I'm one of the team leaders for Team Disease, I just really want to do my part. So I am going to attempt to read a book from every continent, including Antarctica, and if I have time, I have one additional book that I'm going to try to read. So let us start at the beginning. So the first book that I'm going to attempt to read for this readathon is the team book for Team Disease, and that is Blindness by Jose Saramago, which is a book about a city that is hit with a blindness epidemic, and then all hell kind of breaks loose because the blind are quarantined, and then like crime breaks out, and all of those things you can imagine would happen if, you know, a blindness epidemic would break out. And this just sounded like really super interesting and kind of weird, so like I'm into that. This book will cover my European read, because Jose Saramago is a Portuguese author. The second book I'm going to attempt to read for this readathon is Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie. This is actually the team book for another team. This is a team book for Team Warfare, and this is a book about a badass AI seeking revenge for those who have wronged them. And I'm pretty fucking stoked about that. This will count as my book for North America because Ann Leckie is from the United States. The third book I'm going to be reading is called, well, it's a comic series, and it's called Borderline. I'm going to be reading the first volume. This is by Eduardo Risso and Carlos Trillo, and it is a post-apocalyptic comic series or graphic novel. I'm not really sure which because I don't know how it was published. But it is featuring 2 rival organizations that control the world, and I can totally get behind that. I've seen some scans of the artwork in this, and it looks fucking beautiful, so I'm really excited to read it. And this will count as my South American read because the author and the artist are Argentinian. Book 4 is going to be Binti Home by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a sequel, so I don't really want to get into too much of a summary, but the character Binti is returning home from studying on another planet and has to kind of face her family and friends after the events of the first book. And this is going to count as my African read because Nnedi Okorafor is a Nigerian American author. And I'm also planning on buddy reading this with Firecats, who I will link in the description. She's on Team Disease with me, and if you buddy read with a teammate, you get extra points for your team. Book 5 that I'm going to read for this readathon is The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I did look it up, but I'm not great at this. But he is a Chinese author. And this is a book about, it's a first contact story. So it's a book about first contact with aliens, and it spans multiple decades and features video games. So it sounds fucking spectacular. I think I'm really gonna like it. And it is the beginning of a trilogy. So if I do like it, I will be reading the rest of them. And as I said, it's a Chinese author. So as you could surmise, this is going to count as my Asian read for the readathon. Book 6. I will be reading At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. I am not, full disclosure, I am not the biggest fan of H.P. Lovecraft. I have read 3 or 4 stories by Lovecraft at this point, and I have not loved any of them. But I'm going to give him one more chance and see how I feel. But this is a 1930s supernatural horror story about an Antarctic expedition and the discoveries that are made on that expedition. And, it's a story about Antarctica, so it seems like the right choice for this readathon. If it sucks, I'll maybe DNF it, and then I just won't count Antarctica for my read a book from every continent, because like I said, I don't totally love Lovecraft, so I'm not gonna put myself through something I'm not enjoying, but I am gonna give it a fair chance. Book 7 that I plan to read is Beloved Son by George Turner. This is a 1978 vintage science fiction story about a space crew that returns to Earth, and Earth has changed a lot after 40 years of being away. And I guess the people of Earth want to take on the leader of this space crew as a deity because he has telepathic powers or something. I don't know. It sounds bonkers, and I'm kind of really here for it. But anyway, George Turner is a relatively well-known, and by that I mean apparently relatively well-known to people from there, but I had not heard of him until I looked up books for this readathon, but he's a relatively well-known Australian science fiction writer, and you guys know I love vintage sci-fi, so if I really like this, that's just going to open up a whole new continent of possibilities for me, because I can look into so many of his other books and, some of the other authors that were writing in Australia around the same time. That made no sense. Whatever, we're going to move on. Anyway, and if I have time, which I'm not really counting on, but if I do have time, I am going to read an 8th book for this readathon, and that is A Cupful of Space by Mildred Clearman. This is another North American one, because this author is from the United States, so it doesn't count for points for reading from a new country, but it is a short story collection that is under 150 pages that I have been meaning to get to for a long time, so I can count it for some of the bonus challenges. And it'll give me an excuse to finally read it, because I don't know why, but I really suck at getting to short story collections. It's just, they're like my kryptonite. I keep buying them and then not reading them, and there's really no reason for it. So I'm gonna try to get to that one by the end of this 2-week readathon. Anyway, are you guys participating in Tome Infinity and Beyond? What team are you on? If it's not Team Disease, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. And, I'm sorry that you're going to lose. No, seriously though, let me know if you're participating. Let me know what team you're on. Let me know what books you're planning on reading for this, because I think that it's really interesting, the sorts of things that you uncover that you wouldn't have known about otherwise because they were written in other parts of the world. Did that make sense? I don't know. Hope so, because we're not editing this video. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Bye.